Hello guys, my name is Balkrishna Srivastav and welcome to Code with BK. So in this video, we write a Java program to read array input from the user. And before we begin, it is a request to please subscribe to my channel because out of 100 viewers, only one or two is subscribed and a subscription is very important. So please do subscribe to my channel. So let's begin. So in this, we write a Java program to read array input and we solve this problem of reading array input in two separate cases. So one of the case is when you have the first line of input as the number of elements in the array and then second line consists the integers in the array. Okay. The other case will be when we don't have the size. The only input will be one single line of space separated integers, which we will see as the second possible case. Alright. So we have input consisting of two lines. The first line of input is the number of elements in the array n, and then the second line contains n space separated integers. So we have to create an array of size n and populate it with the integers in the second line. So this is one of the sample inputs. Okay, 5 is the number of elements in the array and then 5 integers space separated in the next line. Okay, so we use scanner class in Java and the nextInt method of the scanner class. So nextInt in short extracts and returns an integer from scanner source, ignoring all white spaces. Okay, and I've already posted a separate video explaining how exactly nextInt works. What does it mean by scanner source? I will add the link of that video in the description. In short, the scanner source is from which the scanner object reads. Okay, and nextInt basically returns the first integer that it reads from the scanner source. Okay, and nextInt will ignore all the white spaces before it finds the first integer to return. Okay, so in our example 1, the first line of input is 5, that is 5 elements, and these are 5 integers. So we output array something like this. Okay, example 2, size is 10, then we input 10 space separated integers, the output is something like this. Okay, so I have already written a method to print the array, okay, in this format. All right, so let me code the main. The first thing we need is a scanner class object. Okay, scanner system.in. Do you have the scanner import on top? Yes, we have. Okay, and I will close the scanner. Closing the scanner is a good practice. For your purpose, if you don't close the scanner, it does not make any difference. Okay, so the first line of input is the number of elements in this array. So I say int n is scanner dot next int, reading this value n. Okay, I have the size of the array, so I can create the array now. So I say int ar equal to new int n. Okay, and then I read n integers from the second line. So I say for int I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, and in each loop iteration we read the ith element into this array by using scanner.nextInt. All right, finally we print the array. We say system.out.println, say array. Okay, I'll say print and then call this print array. Okay, I'll pass arr. Okay, so this line of code reads the size, the integer from the first line of input, which is the size of the array. Then we create the array, and since the second line of input contains space separated integers, each call of nextInt will return an integer from this line. Okay, so if there are 10 integers, we need to call nextInt 10 times. All right, that is we call nextInt n times, where n is the first line of input. Okay, so let me run this. So this is java c read array input 1.java. I say java read array input 1. So no prompt text because we are not printing anything in the main, right? So all I need to do is enter the first line, which is the size. So 5, then 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 5 integers. All right, so we get the array output as this, the way we expect. Okay, running this again. So I have size 3 and integers 2, 90 and 89. So I get this. I run this again. I say I have size 7. Okay, I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I get array like this. All right, so this is the input that we are working on, and we can have some changes in this input as well, with which this code will work too. What I'm trying to say is, suppose this is my current input, so I'm going to use input redirection. I'm going to say java read array input, and I'm going to pass in 1.txt. Okay, so now the contents of this file will be passed as input. So this is the size and these are the elements. Okay, so I get these elements in the array as output. So when I run this, okay, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. If I change this to 6 and I make this 31, 50, 17, 112 and 0. Okay, so now I pass this in1.txt, which is now updated to this. Okay, we see these elements in the array, so I run this. All right, now I'm using input redirection because I'm going to run this code on multiple test cases. Okay, so the second one is that we have each integer on a separate line instead of being in the same line. Okay, so we were having 2, 3, 5, 7, 11 in the same line. Now we have them in separate lines, and this is also going to work because a change in line is also treated as a space, a white space, right? So 2 and 3 has a white space in between, which is a change in line. 3 and 5 also have a white space in between, which is a change in line. 5 and 7 have a white space in between. 7 and 11 have a white space in between. Okay, and the first integer is the size. So this basically is the same as the previous case where we were having this, right? Okay, here also integers are white space separated. Here also integers are white space separated. So when I do int2.txt, passing this entire thing as input, this is read as the size of the array and these are read as the elements of the array. So 5 elements we give 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. So when I do input redirection using int2, I get 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. Okay, if I add 3 more values, okay, and I make this 8. Okay, so 8 elements for the array, and running this again int2.txt, I get the 8 elements. All right. Okay, the third possible case is when you can have combination of both space in the same line and the change in line. Okay, because the idea is to have white space between two integers in any way possible. Okay, so there is a white space between these two, there is a white space between these two, there is a white space between these two, white space between these two, and white space between these two. So when I run in3.txt, I get the output for the 6 elements here. Okay, let me add a few more. I'll say 9 space 78 and 100. So we added 3 more, so let me 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, running this again. All right, you get the right output. Okay, because the idea is to have white space between two integers and a change in line is also treated as a white space. Okay, or the next case can be where you can have more than one white spaces between two integers. So again, I'm going to repeat my statement. To extract two separate integers using nextInt, they must be separated by at least one white space. All the extra white spaces in between are ignored. If the input is like this, 5 and 7 are two separate integers because they are separated by a white space. When it becomes like this, 5 and 7 are together. This is one single integer now, 57. Okay, these are two integers now, and I'll add more spaces. Okay, so we have multiple spaces, white spaces between two integers, and it is still going to run the same because size is 6 and we are passing 6 space separated integers. Even those spaces between two integers are more than one, okay, it does not matter, they are all ignored. Okay, so running in 4.txt, and I get 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13. Okay, let me change this to say 30 and like 58 and like 21. Okay, still white spaces between integers, say 7, 7, 7, 7, 1, 1, 9, 8, 1, 3, 7, 8. Okay, still 6 integers, still white spaces between them, and I should still get the right output for in4.txt, which I'm getting. Okay, and you can add a change in line and you can say 34 space 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 89 space 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 48. You added 3 more, make this to 9. Okay, 9 space separated integers. Okay, make this to the next line. Okay, now if you run the in4.txt again, you get the same output. Okay, moving to in5.txt is basically just 10 space separated integers, the second sample case in the same line. Okay, this second sample case. Okay, all right, we run in5.txt, we get 10 integers as output. Okay, I copy this again, paste this again, it becomes 20. Okay, reading 20. All right, okay, and if this is 10 and the number of integers more than 10, it is just going to read the first 10. Okay, so if I make it 10, I get for in5.txt the first 10. If I make it 5, I get the first 5, which are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. Because this line of input, this first integer, it is deciding the size of this array. Okay, if I make this say 15, I get the first 15. Okay, but if I make it more than the number of integers in the second line. So these are 20 integers. If I make this 21, I will get an exception. Okay, no such element exception, because the size is 21. The for loop here, okay, is expecting 21 integers n times. Okay, n is 21, but you are giving only 20 integers, then you get exception. All right, so you have to keep in mind, whenever you take array input and you get the first input as the size of the array, the number of integers following must be at least equal to the size of this array. Okay, extra input elements go into the input buffer, okay, if they are not read, and they can be read with the further calls of next int. Okay, so I change this back to 20 and I get the right output. All right, okay, so this was the first case where we have the first line of input as the size of the array, and then the next line contains n space separated integers. The next case is where we have input consists of only one line, and the first line, which is the only line, contains n space separated integers. Okay, so it is like you remove this and this is your array input. So in this case, our input is only one line which contains n space separated integers. Okay, something like this. Okay, it is our job to identify how many integers are there in this line, create an array and store these integers in that array. Okay, so this won't be applicable, input 3 won't be applicable, input 4 we can change to maybe, okay, come everything in the same line. Okay, keep spaces in between. Okay, and then we can have input 5. Okay, all right, so first thing we need is a scanner class object. I'll say scanner is equals to new scanner system dot in scanner dot close. Okay, again, closing the scanner is not mandatory for you people, but it is a good practice, right? Since we don't know how many integers are there in this one line of input, we cannot call next int. Okay, because we have to know how many integers are there, only then we can call next int. In previous case, we know that we have to call next int 10 times, because the size of the array is given, the number of integers to be followed is given. Okay, in this case, we read this entire input line as string and then we extract integers out of it. Okay, so I say string integers, which is the one single line of input, is scanner dot next line. Okay, and that is all we read from the scanner. So I add scanner dot close here. We create another scanner object. Okay, I say scan integers is equals to new scanner, and in this case the source for the scanner object is going to be this string. Okay, you can also pass strings as source to scanners. Again, I've explained this in the video where I explain how nextInt works. You can check it out. So whatever input we give to this scanner object, which is reading from system.in, okay, the source is system.in here. Whatever input we give is basically a string. Okay, so what we can do is we can give that string directly here in this scanner object as well. Okay, so a string can also be a scanner source. Okay, right, now we have this as our scanner source, and now we can call has next int to check how many times we can call next int, and the number of times has next int returns true on the scanner source is the number of integers in this scanner source. So I say int n equal to 0, which will be the number of integers in this single line of input. Okay, so I'll say while this scanner, okay, the one that is scanning the string, has next int. Okay, so as long as there is an integer to read from this string, I will say we scan the next integer using next int. All right, and every time has next int returns true, it means there is an int available, an integer available, which I'm extracting here. So I increment the size by 1. Okay, because n will be storing my the number of integers in this space separated string of integers. Okay, all right, now when my loop closes, okay, n contains the number of integers in the string input integers. Okay, right, number of integers, space separated integers in this. Now that we have n, we can create our integer array. I create my integer array. All right, okay, so we have the array now. Okay, we have to populate this array with the integers from this string. So we use this exact same idea, because this loop is running as long as there are integers in the scanner source, and in each iteration we get one integer. So I'll say my index I is 0. This integer I is going to iterate over the indices of this array ARR, and I is 0 because we start filling this array from left to right. Okay. But when this while loop closes, we have scanned this entire string using this scanner object. Okay. So if we want to scan this again, we recreate this scanner object, so that when this scanning starts, it starts fresh using this same string. Okay. So in this while loop, we are not storing the extracted integer because we are just counting how many integers we are extracting. Okay. In the second case, in the second while loop, we will store the extracted integer in this variable x and then put this x into the ith index in the array and increment I by 1. Okay. The same idea is being used. In the first case, we do not know how many integers are there in this string that contains space separated integers. Okay. So we use this while loop to count how many integers can we extract. And then we get the value of n, we create an array of the size n, and then we create this scanner object again using the same string. Okay, because the string hasn't changed. Okay, it's just that the entire scanning completes here. We have to start the scanner object fresh. Okay, we use the same idea of extracting integers as long as there are int, as long as has next int returns true. We set variable x to this extracted integer and set this variable x to ith location in the array, and then increment the index. Okay. Finally, we just need to print this array. So I copied this. So let me run this. I'll say java c read array input 2.java. Okay, I'll say java read array input 2. Okay. So when I run this, the expected input to this program is going to be one single line that contains space separated integers. So let me run this. 3, 5, 7, 11 and 13. So array is this. Copy this, paste this, and this is my output. Okay, let me run again for another case, say 3, 4, 5. 345, only 2 elements. So you get only 2 elements. Alright, let's see what it gives for a blank line. So blank line gives nothing. Okay, because you read a line, it's blank, it contains no integers, so you get a empty array output. Okay, now let me run this code with this in1.txt. Okay, using input redirection in1.txt, you get 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. Okay, I'll add these many integers 4 times. Okay, run this again, you get all these values. Then we run info.txt. So I say info.txt. Okay, we get all the values. Okay, because they are in the same line. If we press enter here, so only these integers are going to be read because only one line of input is being read. Okay, so we'll miss out on 89, 48. Only till 1378 and 34 will be read. So if I run this again, you see I miss out 89, 48. Only till here values are being read. In 5.txt, let's run in 5.txt. We should get all these integers. We get all these integers. So these are the two possible cases you can have when you are reading array input, okay, into your program. And these are the codes. These are very simple, straightforward codes. You can always remember them. All right. So I hope this video was helpful and you like this video. So please subscribe to my channel. And if there was something that you did not like about this video, please just don't press the dislike button. Please also let me know in the comments what was it that you did not like about this video, so that I can improve in my further videos. And you can also mention in the comments if there is a question you want to solve or if there is a concept you want to discuss. Thank you.